Hello, hello. We are back again to your episode Limitless with your favorite host, Derrick Grissom. I am so happy to be here this episode because, as you all know, Limitless is all about bringing guests on that can add value to the conversation and allow you to see what it's like out here in the real world and maybe grab something that can help you be the best version of yourself. Hence the name of the episode or the podcast called Limitless. Again, I'm Derrick Grissom. I'm just happy to be here, and I'm happy for my guest. I have a guest with me today. She's a good friend of mine. We're on a board together. She has a lot going on, and I feel like she has a story worth sharing. Miss Kimberly Whitley. How are you, Kimberly?
I'm fine, Derrick. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. When I asked you to come on, Kim almost told me no. That she don't like the camera. And she a little nervous now, but I told Kim, don't worry about it. Because you're talking to me, and we talk all the time, and you know how I am. So I'm just happy that you're here. And I have the notes and some of the questions, but more than likely, I'm not going to use most of them because I feel like you have a very powerful story that can help so many people. So I want you to start off by telling me a little bit about Kim. I met you at church years ago. And although we don't go to the same church now, we did for years, and we've remained friends since. I had the opportunity to mentor your son, Jonathan, and we just had a great relationship over the years. But give the audience a little bit about Kim and what is it about Kim that people should know?
Well, Kim, I'm from a little town in Illinois called Decatur. I was raised by a single mother. You know, I never really had a relationship with my dad. My mom, I have 3 sisters by my mom. And in 2012, I found I have 9 other siblings that I had no idea I had by my dad. My mom passed away when I was 23, 3 months before my 24th birthday. That was in 1994, and it was hard. It was really hard. I was a single parent with 2 children. My oldest was almost 5, and my baby girl, she was almost 3. Yeah, she was almost 3, and you know, it was a struggle for us, as a single parent, just being a mother. And after I lost my mom, it was worse, you know, and I kind of went on a downward spiral, you know. I had been in an abusive relationship. I moved from Illinois to Washington State, left there because I was being abused by the guy I was dating. When I left him in 91, I was pregnant with triplets. And I moved to Virginia. That's where my mom, at the time, she was still living. So my mom and my 3 sisters were all in Virginia, so I moved to Virginia. And that was in November of 91. And I had a miscarriage a couple of weeks later because I was so stressed. And it was horrible. It was hard. And, you know, we ended up in a shelter for a while. And, you know, thank God, even though my family was there financially, they couldn't do much, you know what I'm saying? Because they were having their own struggles. They had their own family. You know, my mom, she had dialysis. She was on dialysis, rather, because she had kidney failure, so she couldn't do much. So it was a struggle, and then she passed away in 94, and moving forward, you know, I just thank God that I found a church home in Virginia, and that's where I started to heal a little. You know, I started to get closer to God. That was in 97. I had my son in 98, so now I have 3 children, you know, and still a single parent, never married. Never got married. At one time I thought I would, but it never happened. And I moved here in Georgia in 2012. And it was just me and my oldest daughter and her husband. And my son stayed in Virginia with his dad at the time. And he went through some horrible stuff with his dad. And I had to go get my son, you know. And honestly, I wanted to hurt somebody. But I thank God. God allowed things to happen. He had allowed me at that time to be like busted broke. No money. I couldn't get to him in time. Nobody had money to get me there. And it was hard to see my son go through what he was going through, and I couldn't get to him. And then a few months later, I got my son home, and, you know, he went into the military after he graduated, and, you know, I just thank God.
Yeah, I will tell you, I didn't know that you had lived in Washington State, and just from my understanding of what we've talked about, it started in Virginia, but I know it had to be tough dealing with the situation, coming here, leaving your son, then having to go back and get him. But I will tell you, from what I've seen, you are a hard worker, and you believe in working and taking care of your family and doing what you have to do. At the end of the day, you still raised 3 kids as a single mother, and you're still here. So that's the blessing. That is, when we talk about Limitless, and when I coined Limitless for the book and for the podcast, it was to have guests on just like you, because your story, I don't want to make light of what you've been through, but it did not stop you. And there was a zeal within you to keep pressing forward, even in the midst of all that. And that's what I'm glad you're sharing your story, but I also want to pull out how you've still been maintaining. Somehow God has kept you in the midst of all of that. And that's really what I want the audience to see, because somebody's going through the same thing. Yeah. Somebody's in an abusive relationship right now. Somebody is having issues with their baby father or baby mama. Somebody's child's not acting right. Somebody is going through struggle. Somebody's broke. All this is happening in real time right now. But I want you all to know, who's listening, look at Miss Kimberly Whitley. She may have gone through what she went through.
I am still here. Thank you, Jesus.
So when you came to Atlanta, talk about how things kind of transitioned. Because I met you. You have your son. He went off to the military. I know that you've worked and you've had a few different careers. To bring us up, you know, to where are you right now? I mean, you're not. I know the kids out the house. So where are you right now?
Yes. So the kids are out the house. I have 3 children, 6 grandchildren. The reason I moved to Georgia is because God sent me here. I didn't want to come to Georgia. I wanted to go to Charlotte. And God had told me to write a book and to start a nonprofit. So, you know, I started the book. However, I still haven't finished it. Still got a little ways to go, but my nonprofit I've started is called Glorious Helping Hands. It's a women's and children's shelter. And what we do is, our mission is to honor God by providing housing, food, shelter, clothing, and education for women and children in need. At some point, I want to open a shelter for men as well. But right now I'm starting with the women, and I need, you know, what we're doing now is trying to raise funds, get grants so that we can get a building for them, so that we can house them. Because as a single parent, I know what it's like. I know the struggle. You know, I've lived in a shelter. So I want to be able to like give back, to help those who are in the situation that I was in. And so that's where I'm at right now.
And that's amazing. So you brought the Glorious Helping Hands you brought the concept to me maybe a year or 2 ago. Mm-hmm. And we talked about it, and you actually asked me to be on your board for it. And I was so excited, and still am, because I just think that is so important to have something in the community to focus on. And I get it. I mean, we can talk about helping the men at some point as well, but I really think that it's single women or women with children, that is tough. Especially with all the other challenges that women have in the workforce and just out here as well. That has to be tough, and it's tougher on the children.
Yes.
especially if they're dealing with homelessness. So when you shared that with me, I was excited because I know your heart is in it. And that's one of the reasons why I had no problem serving on the board and I wanted to bring you on to talk about the nonprofit. So I'm glad you brought that up because I know that your heart is in it and I know that you're trying to take it to the next level. So why don't you share with the audience some of the services you eventually want to offer and then inform them on how they can help now in doing that.
All right. So the services that we are going to offer the women, of course, is shelter, a place to live for those who don't have a place to live. And then there's the women who might have an apartment or a house, but they struggle financially to make the ends meet. So we want to be able to be a financial support for them if they need help with their rent or mortgage or pay bills. Now, there will be qualifications, vetting that we will go through. There's a lot of women who might not have the education or the resources that they need. I know there's social services out there and they do the food stamp programs and stuff like that, but sometimes that's not enough. Right. As a single parent myself, it wasn't enough. I had 3 kids. I was making like $5 and something an hour back when my kids. Now I think minimum wage here is what, $7.75 or something like that. It's not enough. And even if they're making $15 an hour, it's still not enough. Because you got to think, if their children are younger, they need childcare, right? If you have transportation, you might have to pay for, your car note. You got to pay for insurance. You got rent or mortgage. You got utilities. You got your cell phone, and the list goes on and on. And as a single parent, even sometimes if you're getting child support from the child's father, it's still not enough. Now, right or wrong, all mothers, not all mothers, I'll put it like that, not all mothers do the right thing when it comes to the child support. Sometimes they take the money, go partying or whatever. However, that doesn't mean they don't need it. A lot of people go through different situations and they have struggles. Right. And a lot of them don't know how to deal with the struggles that they're having.
So give us a little bit more on, once you help the women and children, what's the end goal for that program? What is the end goal? They come into Glorious Helping Hands. What should they expect as the end goal?
All right. So as far as the end goal, our goal is to make sure that they become productive citizens, so that they can stand on their own. Be able to pay their bills without a problem, and it's like just being able to maintain without the struggle, just not having to do things, because sometimes they do, that's beneath them, you know what I mean? So that they can feed their children. Right. Or leaving their children at home because they have to go to work and they can't afford to pay a child care provider. So my end goal, if they are in the shelter living, it's a 12 to 18 month program. Okay. While in that shelter, we will be helping them to manage their money, teaching them how to save money, putting their money in a account, so that it can grow as they are in the program. At the end of that 12 to 18 months, or if they get out sooner, that's fine too. But we want to be able to transition them into housing, getting their own apartment or buying their own house. Teach them about real estate, teach them about stocks and investments and all of that. That's the end goal.
That is amazing, because I think that is the key to so many people listening to your story and listening to how Glorious Helping Hands is going to help these women and really deciding if they're going to help or not. There always has to be some type of structure to where it's not just we're going to take them in and take care of them, because that's unsustainable.
Right.
We're going to take women and children in, but then teach them how to become more self-sufficient.
Right.
So at some point in a year to a year and a half, they can go out there and do what you've done, do what I do, and take care of themselves, but be better educated and better equipped in doing it. And I think that's the part that's very important. Glorious Helping Hands, this is not about a handout.
Not at all.
I know I know people may think that. This is helping someone get on their feet. This is what giving back to the community is all about. And if you take issue with the adults, think about the children.
That's right.
And that is where I love how there's going to be an account and some accountability. So it's not just money going in somebody's hand to do whatever, but they're going to have to be accountable. And I'm sure there will be some rules in place to ensure that if you are to stay, you're going to meet this criteria. So I really appreciate that. We skipped over something because I distinctly remember, Kim, at some point, I remember this very clearly, you wanted to go back to college and earn a degree. And I want you to talk about what that was like and what degree that you earned, because I believe you finished. Let's talk about it.
Well, Derrick, I did go back to college. The goal was to get a bachelor's in business management. I got my associates. I have my associates. I still have some work to do to get towards the bachelor's, but yeah.
Well, we're not going to downplay the associates, because when you was having that conversation with me, you didn't have any of it. So you go, because I don't want people to feel like this is not gloom and doom on Kim. God's been good. As she went back to school, I remember this, earned her, she was working and going to school, because I remember her doing it, and earned her college degree, and there is nothing to downplay about that. That is you're talking to an educated sister here, has an associate's degree, and she's still working on getting the bachelor's, but just to get any of it, nothing about that was easy. I'm sure you got stories on how you had to write papers and do all this stuff while you trying to work.
I had to ask ask my son for help.
That's exactly. Listen, and do it shamelessly. And do it shamelessly. So no, that's a good story. I wanted to throw that in there because, again, limitless. Your potential is limitless. It's really not a lot of room to make excuses when there are people out here making it happen, and all of us are on our journey. All of us are on different platforms, but I like to be around. The people who come on this program are going to be people that you can learn from, and you can say, if they did it, I can do it. If Derrick did it, I can do it. If Kim did it, I can do it. Enough with the excuses, enough with them. So I'm glad to hear that. What do you have a event coming up, and by the time this broadcast, we may or may not be there, but I still think it's important to talk about the event because it's an annual type event. So talk about your upcoming event.
All right, so we have what we call a women's empowerment brunch every year. It started last year. This year, the theme will be hats and heels. Okay. And what we're doing is fundraising, raising money for the nonprofit. You have to go on the website, glorioushelpinghands.org, to purchase your tickets. Okay. Or you can Cash App it to GHHINC7. And, you know, basically what we want to do is we bring guests out to speak to the women to empower them. Teach them, you know, talk to them about, might be real estate, it might be credit restoration, it might be one of them survived cancer. Whatever, you know, whoever the guest is that I invite at the time, then it's just to build up women to come together and support the nonprofit and support one another. And what happens is we become family. You know, last year when we did it, it was amazing. The food was amazing. The guests were amazing. And, you know, it's a lot of fun, a lot of laughter. And, you know, if that's something that you would be interested in, I would suggest you to go to our website, glorioushelpinghands.org, and purchase your ticket. Their tickets are $30. if you're not a woman or can't make it, you can still help by donating on our website.
Very important. I mean, when you think about nonprofits and the type of work, think about the type of work that is going to be doing, that Kim is doing in the community, and the type of help that she's giving to women and women with children. They need it. So $30, listen, people, some of you who are watching me, you blow that in a day at Starbucks. Let's just keep it real. It's only $30. And I dare say, even if you can't make it, donate anyway, because you know it's going to a good cause. So I'm going to ask Kim to give the information again on how you can donate on both the website and via Cash App, so that you can be a part of this great cause. And let me just be clear, even if this is shown after the event, let's just say that happens by chance, donate anyway. Cash
Amen.
App is still going to be working.
Amen.
The website is still going to be on.
Amen.
Because you're giving to a great cause, and you're giving to make sure that these children have a place to stay or can get help.
Amen.
So can you give the information again?
Sure. Our website is glorious, GLORIOUS, helpinghandsinc.org. And our Cash App is $GHH7 is the Cash App.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Any closing words? This has been great.
Well, just so you guys know too, I am a vet. I was in the military, so I'm a veteran. And we are doing a Feed the Children this summer from May the 30th through August the 4th. So I've partnered with another nonprofit, and we're gonna, because a lot of the children, when they're out of school, the parents can't afford to feed them. So I partnered with another nonprofit, and what we're gonna do is go to different housing complexes or what have you, and feed the children.
Will this be on your website as well at some point?
Yeah, it'll be on the website as well. And if you want to join our newsletter and receive a newsletter, just go to the website and sign up for the newsletter.
And one more time with the website.
GlouriousHelpingHandsInc.org.
GlouriousHelpingHandsInc.org.
Yes.
Thank you, Kim, for coming on. This has been great. As you can see, this was very conversational.
Yes.
I think this was very impactful. And I believe that there are those who are listening right now who are going to really become better because of your story, your background, and the fact that you're still here. So it may seem gloomy, it may have even sounded gloomy in the beginning, but at the end of the day, you're still here, you're still moving forward, you're still making an impact in the community, and that is what nonprofit is all about. Again, I'm Derrick Grissom, I'm your host. This is Limitless. This is what it's all about. We are here to give you hope, empower you, motivate you to be the best version of yourselves. Your potential is limitless. There are no excuses. The guests that come on this program are people who are just like you and me. If they can, you can. The name of my book is Limitless. You can go to my website, mylimitlessgrowth.com, to purchase it, or you can go to Amazon and purchase it. I just want you to be the best version of yourself. So thank you. I'm going to say what I've said on the other episodes, and I'm going to coin this. If you're listening to me right now and you're saying, Derrick, I hear you, but I don't need motivation and I don't need inspiration. You probably don't, but I bet you know someone who do. So since we know you know someone who do, get the book for them and stop being selfish so that they can be motivated and inspired. Amen. Thank you, and looking forward to the next episode. Have a good one.